Hey, be joyful. Well, we are digging deeper into 1 Peter. We're in chapter 2, verse 18 and following. And in this place, Peter's going to turn his thinking and his line of reasoning to sort of give us an example of a slave who's bearing up under unjust treatment and comparing that to what Christ went through when he died for us. And he's going to do this through the next several verses, and we're going to spend a little bit of time here. It's really powerful and important for us to understand. That society accepted slavery. Our society very recently accepted slavery, and certainly it's rife now. And Peter is not condoning slavery. He's not approving of it in any way. What he's trying to do more is to say, look, this is what it's like to be treated unjustly. And you can have a response that is to rebel. You can have a response that's just to acquiesce, or you can have an affirmative response of this is where I am and this is how I'm going to be. I'm going to bear up in obedience underneath this slaveholder, whether they're just or good. And so then he turns that and he says, Jesus, under unfair and unjust slaveholders over him, the people who put him to death, he bared up under that with purpose and dignity and serving us, serving the goal of justice for us and taken on in his own body. And so he wants us to see that, but I'm going to read it to you because it says something really important at the end about our calling related to this. Servants, be subject to your masters with respect, with all respect, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the unjust. For this is a gracious thing. When mindful of God, one endures sorrows while suffering unjustly. For what credit is it if when you sin and are beaten for it, you endure? But if when you do good and suffer for it, you endure, this is a gracious thing in the sight of God. For to this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example, so that you might follow in his steps. So any of us who follow him are going to suffer unjustly. And Peter says here, we have been called to it. Not only is he an example for us, but we have been called to be willing to suffer unjustly with humility. Walking with Jesus is definitely the ultimate blessing, but it comes with a cost. And so I think the question for us is something like this. Are we prepared for the cost? Do we sense that calling into the cost of following him? Or are we just in this for the good feelings and how it makes us it gives us validation or hope? What we need is to follow Jesus in truth, in reality, and that's what we're called into. And sometimes it's hard. All right, think about it. See you next time.